Hello, my name is Kurt. Welcome to my Good Life meditation for the 14th day of April 2025. This is an exercise that I do every day, a little bit after waking up, to remember my life objectives and principles, those which are outlined in my book, Going Alone. I also use this time to reflect on the last 24 hours and how I did with various challenges and opportunities that I met. I think about my creed, what to align myself with in the direction as I prepare for the coming day, in the direction of what I would consider a well-lived day. And then I talk about what I'm going to do today. So, but first, greetings to my new subscribers. Welcome to the channel, and a big hearty thank you for joining. I do want to caution you, though this is Japan, and look at those clouds. Aren't they something ominous over there? Wow. What's going on over there? It looks like something out of a movie. This is Japan. This is not necessarily a video about Japan, although I do make plenty of those. This is my daily journal entry. So I'll be talking about myself in this video. I'll be giving myself compliments where I've done well in the last 24 hours, and I'll criticize myself, and but not gratuitously. Criticize myself with the aim of helping myself improve, to learn from the mistakes of the last 24 hours. But I thought I'd come down here with my can of coffee to the end of the tracks and do it here. It's okay, I can talk as loud as I want. There's no one here to hear, except you'll have to bear with it. Occasional trains going by. Let's just give this a try. Right here at the edge of the railroad tracks. And this is the Yoshida River, the same river that runs past my house, which is maybe a mile upriver here. Oh boy. And of course, whenever you are in Japan, wherever you are, there's always somebody watching. Sure enough, I come to the very end down here, and there's a gentleman right down there, so I'll stand over here so he doesn't even see me. Okay, let's get started. So, what I'm going to do now, and forgive me if I ignore your comments. I do read comments, but I wait till the end to do so. I'm going to walk along the river here, and I'm going to go over the last 24 hours, all the stuff I said before, but let's do it. A little disclaimer, I do talk about controversial subjects here, death, my lack of belief in God, things that make people uncomfortable sometimes, so just a heads up. Don't always talk about them, but sometimes. Also, a hearty thank you for those that bought me my coffee this morning, my viewers on YouTube, my members on YouTube, and my Patreon supporters especially. Thank you. All right, let's talk about the last 24 hours. I do keep notes. I have a little notebook right here. Let's take a look at what I have written down. Just bear with me for a second. I wonder if you all can hear me if I talk like this. Okay, for the last 24 hours, I have the following 4 notes. PEF. What does that say? Something man. Oh, staring man. Yeah, the staring man. Yeah. And then talk about Rudy, and then can't escape. So I've got some interesting titles there, huh? First, PEF, the peaceful, easy feeling that I've talked about in the past, continues apace. this good feeling at this stage in my life that seems to be attending my recent retirement. I'm 4 months in. The first couple months I experienced some challenges, but I seem to be past those. Now I feel a little bit of a guilt about feeling good, like not doing enough, But then I have to remind myself, and remember, this is my journal, so I have to be open and frank on both the positive and the negatives. So, at first retirement was a bit of a challenge, finding my footing. It's like you can do anything you want, anytime you want. And, you don't have to worry about things anymore. The kids are grown, career is done. That's a lot to carry. Freedom is a difficult thing to manage, in fact, harder than I had ever imagined. I think I've gotten past that. At least I think so. Then you're faced with this thing of, well, you're free and you're not feeling, guilty about being free. But the next thing is to start to feel like, am I making good use of my time? Especially someone like me, where my literal definition of a well-spent life is making good use of time, doing things what I call in the pursuit of virtue, where virtue is defined as the improvement of the well-being of thinking creatures. Am I doing enough in that regard? So I had a good think about that in the last 24 hours, and I thought, well, okay, I'm not doing things like rescuing kittens or volunteering at shelters, but I did spend a whole lifetime developing a creed, and now I've written 6 books espousing said creed, and I make daily videos talking about my efforts to live and abide that creed, and I've maintained correspondence on a weekly basis. I've always got at least 2 or 3 people that I'm corresponding with, via email, and I've been doing that for 18 years. So I guess in a way, I would consider that to be my effort towards virtue. Making an effort to define what constitutes a good life, codifying that said constitution of a good life, living that, attempting to live that life, share publicly my efforts to improve the definition of that creed and also the implementation of it, and then maintaining correspondence with anybody who has questions that wants to ask me about it. So yeah, I guess so. I guess I think I am. Although it's not, it's certainly not giving out blankets at a shelter. It's giving of a different sense, right? So yeah, so I had that peacefulness through feeling, and then I had that further question about good use of time, and I think I am making good use of time. So yeah, I think I'm okay with that. Okay, continuing a little further. Oh, what if I can put you here for a second? The next item on there, staring man. Right next to the camera there, that's looking at you. You're always being watched in Japan. Oh, hey, that's pretty cool. I took Yumiko out yesterday to breakfast. Now, what that means simply is that she manages all the retirement finances. I have my own fund that I maintain. Remember, I was thanking you guys earlier for my supporters. That comes from YouTube, selling books, my antique business, all that stuff. It goes into a separate account. And I run my own life. I don't get an allowance or anything like that. Yumiko basically runs our retired lives through our retirement income. And I do all this. I buy this coffee and stuff, thanks to the largesse of all of you. So I took her out to breakfast. What that means is that I paid for it, not her. Well, that simply means that you guys helped pay for it. And I was doing that in order, because I wanted her advice and some questions. When we ran our business, our antique business years ago, she was the shipping manager, so to speak, a manager of one person. Well, she managed Emily, our daughter, too. And I yesterday needed to set up things on the Japan Post website so that I could ship. We had our first sale this last week in the store. I need to ship that today, and I needed to set it up. So I took her out to do that. And we went to Coco's in Shimizu because we heard they had a buffet, which is it's the bomb. It's to die for. It's really good. It's a good buffet. It's 1,000 yen per person for 90 minutes. All you can eat. It was really good food. Drink bar, etc. Anyway, the note here says staring man. While we were sitting there, we had our buffet, and then we swapped. I came around, sat with her. We had her computer, and we lifted the computer up and set everything up on the Japan Post site successfully. While we were doing that, the man in the next table, 2 really gruff-looking. I could only describe them as looking the way you would think. If you imagine a Japanese longshoreman, kind of a gruff-looking, tough-looking, man about the docks, which we were literally in the docklands there. Probably he was a port worker, big, hands, big guys, 2 really big guys. They were eating plate after plate of food. It almost made me wonder if they just come in on a ship and were, indulging a little bit of shore chow before, embarking again on the sea. Anyway, the one guy, which he kind of reminded me of after I talked to him, Lenny of Mice and Men, if you know that story. He kind of reminded me of Lenny. Big burly guy. Anyway, he was literally staring at me. I mean, not in any casual or circumspect way. And I knew that he would eventually strike up a conversation with me. And as often is the case, when you're dealing with people that are speaking in a language you don't understand, you don't know when to interject the conversation. I experienced that. I don't speak Japanese well. I experienced that when I was living here initially, and I would want to say something, and people were speaking Japanese, and I would speak out of turn, either in English or Japanese, not knowing the language well enough. I didn't know when to insert myself properly. And I've learned since then, I can follow the conversation. I think I can do a better job now in Japanese. But he didn't wait. Yumiko and I were in the middle of something, and he just jerked right in with in Japanese, asking me which country I was from. Now here's the thing. Why am I talking about that? Well, because this exercise is to talk about challenges and opportunities and how I handled them. While we were eating the meal, I saw what was happening. He was staring at me. I knew that he was curious, and I knew that he was likely to strike up a conversation across the aisle. He was in the next booth across the aisle about where I was from, et cetera, because I've known this script. I've lived this many times. And I prepared myself ahead of time. I said, okay, Kurt, this is a man who probably hasn't met a lot of foreigners, if any. He's curious. He's going to strike up a conversation. That conversation will probably cost me less than 30 seconds of my life, because it will be a few pleasantries. He'll ask me where I'm from. I'll tell him where I'm from. I'll ask him if he's ever been there. This will all be in Japanese. He'll say, oh, no, I never have, but I really want to. My brother-in-law went to Seattle. This is how it always goes down. And then it'll drift off and we'll be back to it. I said, prepare yourself, Kurt. It'll come at any moment. And sure enough, as soon as we were done with the meal, we cleared the table. I went around, sat with Yumiko. 3 or 4 minutes into it, we're in the middle of, we have the Japan Post website open, and I hear across the way, what country are you from? In Japanese. And so then I turned to him and I told Yumiko as I sat down, I said, this man's going to talk to me. So she was ready too. So I just did it like I said. So I always rate myself in terms of how I do with challenges and opportunities. 1 to 5 stars. It's a positive system. There's no negative stars. I'm giving myself 5 stars on that one because I handled it well. I saw it coming. I scripted myself. I prepared. This is true limits and true opportunity. The limit is I can't stop him from doing this. The opportunity is I can control my emotions and not get upset. I mean, 20 years ago, if that had happened and I was with my family and someone, spoke across the table like that and interrupted us, it pissed me off. I would have been polite, but inside I would have knotted up inside a little bit, getting upset. But I prepared myself. I said, I know what's coming. I'm going to be ready for it. It's going to cost me 30 seconds to a minute of my time at most. I'll tell Yumiko this is going to happen too, and I'll be ready when it happens. And I did and executed it accordingly. That's what I mean when I talk about recognizing true limits and true opportunity, is having the foresight and the cognition of what's going on around us or I should say us, me, what's going around me. I don't like to throw all of you under the bus of my own expectations, so that I can react well. And what's really challenging is to tune myself so that when it comes out of the blue, like I was lucky that I saw that coming. Sometimes it comes out of the blue, and practice helps me to then react in the same way, even when I don't see it coming. And it did go well. And he was an interesting character. And even after I talked with him, he seemed more like Lenny than before. Okay, the next one is the Staring Man. Next one is Rudy. And I've got the hashtag true limits and true opportunity. Again, same, that's an objective of my creed. So Rudy's been interesting. 2 days ago, if you watch the video in the garden, we saw Rudy go after my sister-in-law, Yoko, who he perceived as a threat to me. He didn't actually bite her. He just kind of did his little Chihuahua Pomeranian nipping at the feet thing. And so Yoko was fine. She's got a stout character. But still, it shouldn't have happened. I explained everything before. I apologized. I felt bad. I should have had Rudy under control. I dropped the ball. So here's the thing. I felt bad about it. I thought a lot about it. I apologized to Yoko about it. Yoko brushed it off. But still, no one should have to suffer that. And a couple of things, I got comments from people about Rudy, to check him out. We have brought this up with at least 3 veterinarians, 4 if you count our new vet in Japan. We have brought his behavior up with veterinarians. We were concerned that there might be an issue like pain or something like that. The vets, all three, and now the 4th one, has assured us that he's a healthy dog, that his behavior is quite common for Pomeranians especially. We've met with other Pomeranian owners who explain the exact same behavior to us. So we're confident that it's not an issue with Rudy being in pain or anything like that. We did try medication for a while. We decided not to go that route because we didn't like to see our little boy medicated. He's not under a lot of undue stress. Most of the time, 95, 8 to 98% of the day, he's with me and he's just perfectly relaxed. It's just that those brief hours through the day, the minutes through the day that he's in contact with others. He's all right with Yumiko too, as long as I manage him around Yumiko, and I have. So we are addressing that. So the thing is, after all that happened, I decided I'm not going to let that just sit. The fact that of what happened with Rudy, I have to be more proactive. I said, Kurt, because it keeps surprising me when it happens, and that's my bad because I'm the master here of my dog, and I have to step up. So what I decided was that I'm going to set for myself, recognizing true limits and true opportunity. I have a limit. I can't control how Rudy behaves. That's just the way he is. But I have an opportunity insofar as I know what the antecedent, is the antecedent the right one? I know what the triggers are for him. I know what circumstances he is in that will cause him to behave that way. And I have it fully within my capability to protect Rudy from those stimulations. And to keep others safe and keep him rested and not under a state of stress. It's simply up to me to more actively engage that. It's all on me to do that. So this was the case of me taking an unhappy incident where nobody got hurt, but it was stressful. And you can actually watch it if you watch the last garden video I did, the last live that I did. You can actually see the event happen. I shut the camera down shortly thereafter because I stopped working in the garden. I took Rudy inside. But then I've leveraged that, utilizing my principles and objectives to a plan of action to basically give myself the mission, just as it was my mission as a father to raise my daughter, to be attentive to her needs, to not let the inconveniences of work or the responsibilities of life to impair my ability to execute my mission as a father. I'll do the same thing now as a dog dad. So that's good. So I'm giving myself another 5 stars on that one. Hey, I'm doing pretty good. I don't have enough hands to write, so I'll just have to remember. By the way, we are going to the vet today. We're taking Rudy, and I wanted to thank one of my YouTube viewers was the one that left the comment about the heartworm. Thank you so much. We made an appointment today that we're taking both dogs into the vet today to get their heartworm shots. Apparently heartworm is a big issue here in Japan for dogs with mosquito season, and it's just starting the mosquitoes. They're getting their shots today, both of them. And we're going to bring up this behavior issue yet again. So we're a lot of attention to our dogs. Okay, the next one. This is just a note of an observation that I had yesterday that I made a note of. I have a lot of people in my life, and I mean a lot of people in my life who are, like in my personal life, who are watching me retire and thinking of going through the same thing. And I'm not saying that it was my retirement that necessarily it was the catalyst for that, but I believe it was. With several people, I believe that what I'm doing has catalyzed, and I've had people tell me that outright. They've seen me do this seemingly successfully, and seemingly, by what I mean by seemingly is you never know, right? What's going to happen next, right? Seemingly successfully so far. And they're catalyzed to do the same thing. And there's one in particular who's doing it, and I know, and I'm not going to say any names, of course, but there really is someone in my life who's about to go through this, and I really want to get this message out, and so I'm going to do it publicly in a broadcast way here. I don't know how to. I'm struggling because I don't want to impose my experience on anyone else, but I do want to share my carefully considered cautions. And here it is. And I wrote it down. I said, well, actually didn't wrote it down. I just said, can't escape. The point is, retirement leaves us in a situation with more money. Retirement leaves us with regard to the challenges, the problems. I'm talking about the inner problems, the stuff, the demons inside. Retirement puts us into a situation where we have more time to think about our problems and less money to help us do anything about them. There, I think I got it out. That's what I was trying to say. We imagine retirement as being a place where you can escape our problems. I would often, because I do have mental demons, and I would sometimes, back in the past when I was having a tough time, I would attribute those demons or their machinations to my job. I would say, well, if I just could get away from this damn job, then I wouldn't have these inner demons taunting me. And now I know, and I knew this before this, that doesn't work. The demons follow you. And what you wind up with is a situation where you have more time to think about it, or for more time for those demons to taunt us and to prod us and poke us and hurt us. Because work is a distraction, right? Work can, if you got issues in your mind, at least when you're at work, you're usually not thinking about those issues. They may still hurt, but you've got something to distract you. If you don't have work, watch out, because you've got lots of time. The demons, what do they say? The devil, devil fills idle hands or idle hours or something like that. And what's worse is you have less money to do anything about it. Again, the money can be used to distract ourselves with hobbies, interests, etc., which can also, again, help us alleviate the impact of the demons, not by solving the problems, but by making the secondary effects of those pains feel like less, or just distracting us, more damn distraction. That's another principle, a principle of my creed, #distraction. So I wanted to point that out, and I don't know how to say it. There's people in my life who are, I for lack of a better term, following in my footsteps, and watch out. What you find here on the other side is lots of free time for your demons to come haunt you, and a lot less money to distract yourself away from their hauntings. Now, I do think, and this is me being honest, I think that I've got my demons at bay. I wrestled most of them over the course of my life, and that was part of what writing my books was all about. The experiences that I had, the going alone experience in particular. So the demons that I have are manageable for the most part. And I'm really lucky is that I'm married to a woman who has a superpower for managing such things, and I can talk to her when I have my trouble. So watch out if you're planning to retire and you haven't and you've got a bag of demons in your head. You're not going to have a lot of money. You'll have a lot of time to think about it, and if you don't have a Yumiko to bounce things off, then that might be tricky. So there are no stars for that one, because that's not an event. That's just an observation. Okay, the next 24 hours. What am I going to do? Well, I'm going to take the dogs to the vet, coming up shortly. I'm going to ship that first sale on eBay, on my YouTube store, and I'm moving my store from YouTube back to eBay. And I worked yesterday. I got my eBay store all set up again. It's called Softypapa. The first listing is in there. Wow! And I also got myself set up with QuickBooks. And I'm going to be integrating that in with the eBay store so that it'll be easier to do my taxes. And I'm going in after it in earnest. Why are you going in after it in earnest, Chris? I thought you said you didn't like to work. You don't want to work. Yeah, that's true. But I need something to keep my mind nimble and free. And this is perfect, because Yumiko has developed an interest in antiques, just like I have. And we're spending almost every weekend going to antique flea markets, antique stores here in town, and finding stuff to decorate our house. And it just makes logical sense to reopen our old, and literally the same eBay store that we had before, with our almost 6,000 successful product sales on that store, reopen it and re-engage that engine. This is going to give us the chance to introduce challenges and problems into our lives that will help to keep our minds nimble, both my wife and I. We're doing this as a joint venture. So I'm going to ship that first shipment today, and I'm going to work on my eBay store, maybe even list a few items. We'll see. No rain, it looks like today. So let me go ahead and read comments before we wrap up. Oh, hi, Missy Boo. Good morning to you. Have you filmed here before? I recognize the bridge and the train tracks. I have, yes, maybe once. That's the JR line down there. I kind of walked away from it all because I walked away because there was a man down there and I didn't want him to think I was breaking into anything. Is it back? I'm back. Okay, I'll continue walking. But yeah, this is the Tomei Expressway. Yeah, it goes up through Shizuoka. Okay, let's see. Any more comments? Good morning. Hey, Little Five. Good morning. Whiskey. Good morning. Good morning to you. Is that a Shinkansen track or highway? That's a highway over my head. You can hear the trucks going over. The Shinkansen tracks are down at the end of the street. And the JR tracks. Good morning. Hi, Robert. Says hi to everybody. Little Five says hi to Robert. I hope you have a great day, says Missy Booker. Inspiring others to believe in themselves. Thank you, Robert. Extra money for your retirement, too. Yes, indeed. How is the eBay store affected by the tariffs? I send and sell stuff to USA, but guess it's all in flux. Obviously, I don't think it. I don't know. Good question. That's a good question. I don't. How will the tariffs affect it? Will I be? Because my main market is the United States. Will I be? Well, it won't be me, right? It'll be whoever buys from me will have to pay the tariff, right? So I don't know. I guess so. I guess maybe when they get it at the post office, and the post office in the United States says, well, you just got something worth $20 in Japan, and there's a 30% tariff on the United States on goods from Japan. Wait, is that how it works? Isn't that, yeah, it's a good from Japan, so give us another $6. I guess that could happen, but it won't be me that will be paying that, will it? It'll be the person who's buying it. Interesting. Unless Japan reciprocates in some way. Okay. Yeah, that will affect demand, but that's okay. I'm not doing this. This is not a business to sustain myself. This is a business just for fun. And the stuff that I sell is totally what do you say? Discretionary. I'm not selling milk and eggs. I'm selling kokeshi dolls and ceramic statues. Nobody needs that stuff, and if nobody buys it, it just sits in the store. So what? It's not like, and that's what. By the way, do you see that yellow building back there? That yellow building. That was my old business. That's when I had my business there. I had a family to support. I was the sole breadwinner. Questions like these really meant a lot to me because I didn't sell stuff. I didn't pay rent. I didn't put food on the table. I don't have to worry about that anymore. So if it doesn't sell, it doesn't sell. And with that, I think I'll stop for now. Wish you all the best, everybody. Be safe, but not too safe. Take care.